Welcome to the Talent Optimization Podcast, the go-to podcast for CEOs and HR professionals wanting to bridge the gap between the strategy and tactical implementation of talent optimization within their organizations. Through interviews, predictive index, and personal experience, your host, Tracy Shirk, helps you discover the facets of talent optimization from both a CEO and HR perspective to truly create the dream team for your organization. Are you ready? Let's get started.
What impact does your culture have on staff hanging out with you, right? And staying? It has a ton of impact. And this month, we're talking about the impact that culture has on recruiting and retaining staff in our organizations. My name is Tracy Shirk, and I'm the Chief Talent Officer here at Elevated Talent Consulting. And this is one of those conversations that we have with organizations on a daily basis. So when we walk through our hire program, one of the first things that we do in that program is create an EVP, meaning an employee value proposition. And this so often is so incredibly enlightening for our clients because it is giving them the questions and the processes to sit down and go, what exactly is the reason that employees would want to work for us, right? Just having a job doesn't cut it anymore. Just having a certain pay doesn't cut it anymore. What does start to cut it is, hey, can I be fulfilled in the work that I am doing? Can I be engaged in the work that I'm doing? Will I have a best friend at work? Does the group that I work with support me to reach my full potential? And can I enjoy the work? Am I in the right job? Am I with the right team? Am I with the right manager? And does the culture support me personally? And does it support my life, right? So those are some of the things that we look at. And so that employee value proposition should be able to tell that specific story. So is it telling the story of how you're offering 8 weeks of maternity and or paternity leave? Does it tell the story of how you offer an amazing work-life balance and have that integration of life into work? Does it tell the story of those other benefits that you offer? And it could be flexibility. It could be, an employee saying, hey, there's this amazing deal at the ski spot in our area on Thursday nights that you can ski from 4 till 10 for $18, right? I'm like, okay, that sounds like fun. So can I leave work at 3 so I can go skiing every Thursday night at 4? If it works for them and they get their job done, sure, right? Those are examples of the value that you can provide to your staff. And so you want to write this employee value proposition to introduce individuals to your organization. And so that's just an example of some of those things that we see. But let's start with a fun little statistic that I love. And what the statistic is that 90% of people are open to learning about new opportunities, but only 36% of candidates are actively searching for a new job. And so I was talking with a human resources executive at a school district the other day. And what this individual stated to me was, is there anyone else out there who throws a party when they get one applicant for a teaching position? And then I'm on the phone talking with individuals in healthcare settings, and they're saying, hey, are we in this weird field, or are we an anomaly where we throw a party when we get one applicant for a BSN, Bachelor of Science in Nursing role? And the answer is no, you are not alone in those. Now, some are going to be different. And the other thing that we will say is we work with folks in all sorts of different industries, but multiples in the same industry. So does culture have an impact based on the applicant flow at schools that, let's say, have, a 30% organizational engagement rate versus those that have a 70%? Yeah, it has a huge impact, because that reputation precedes you. And knowing what that is allows you to look at this and go, okay, so what do we need to do? Knowing that the market is what the market is, and we have control over the things that we're doing to bring individuals in. So when we look at recruitment and retention, one of those first things that I want to say is this statistic. 90% of individuals are open to work, and only 36% of them are actively looking for a job. There's a whole big number that, and I'm not great at math and did not pull out a calculator. I think that that's 46%, but I could be wrong, or 44%. But anyway, regardless, you're not hiring me to do math inside your organization. And if you do, that's a really bad idea. So with that being said, really looking at that and saying, okay, there's a huge percentage of individuals that are working and open to new opportunities. We just need to tap them on the shoulder. So how do we go about doing that? How do we go about tapping individuals on the shoulder, especially if you are in an industry like hospitality, like healthcare, like education right now, where you're going, it is really hard to find people. First and foremost, are you creating an environment that your staff want to stay? If your biggest issue is that you're losing staff due to turnover because of the environment, then I would focus there. Yes, you need to fill your teaching positions. Yes, you need to fill your nursing positions, or you need to shift how you are serving clients inside of your organization, or children or patients, or whatever that is, right? So, but really looking at that, because if you burn out your current staff, they are also going to leave, which is going to leave you with a much bigger issue. So knowing, hey, let's create a great environment for our current staff while we are also recruiting for new staff to come in. And when we're recruiting for new staff to come in, tapping them on the shoulder. So we do something in our organizations that we work with called a stay interview. And that's essentially sitting down with individuals and saying, hey, why do you stay here? What inspires you to continue working with us, to continue serving clients at such a high level, to continue being that best nurse that you can be, to continue coming back every single day to serve the kids in your classroom? Why you do it? And when you can understand that and turn up the strengths that individuals have so that they can serve to a higher level and be fulfilled in that work, it's going to make life so much easier for them and for you when you are creating these environments to bring new folks in and to retain your current staff. So one of the things that we do during the stay interviews is we ask and say, hey, are there other individuals in your network that you love working with? You notice I didn't say anyone that you want to send to us right away. I said, who do you love working with? Who have you worked with in the past? Who did you go to school with that was amazing? So when we start there, it gets them thinking about who are the individuals that they loved to be on a team with. So once we understand who they love to be on the team with, we can ask, why did you like working with, Christina? Why did you like working with Sam? Why did you like working with Hannah? What were those things about them that made them a really great team member? And then you can say, is there anyone else like them that you've worked with in the past? And they can start to name those. No, even if it is not for the position that they are in, they could be a lead for another position inside your organization. And so once you have that, you can say, hey, have you talked to them about potentially coming over here and working with you? Because if you are that key bridge, you want to ensure that their work environment is exactly what they need it to be and turn it up, and specifically going back and looking at that and saying, okay, so now how do we connect with those, with those individuals to potentially bring them and their friends over, right? So that conversation where you're caring personally about the individuals in front of you and you're making it about them and their work environment versus you and the organization is incredibly important in showing and truly meaning, we want to ensure we're authentic in what we're saying and in our actions, but we want them to have a team that's going to lift them up. So if we can create that team by those referrals, then we want to do that. So the other thing to point out with referrals is make referrals really, really easy for your staff. Yes, you can give compensation for it. Yes, you can do quarterly parties and staff chats and those things. And we talk about all those in our hire program. But at the end of the day, I really want you to start thinking about 90% of staff are open to new opportunities. only 36% of individuals are actively looking. How do we tap that other percentage and bring them into your organization? That is an amazing thing to do. And it solves your key business problems of not being able to serve and meet what your business goals are. So the next thing I really want to look at is, again, celebrating those wins. When we can celebrate our employees and celebrate those wins with them, guess what? We are going to be able to serve at a much higher level, but we want to ensure that we're celebrating the wins the way the individual wants to have them celebrated, because that has a huge impact on retaining our key staff. So as we, kind of start to wrap up right now, I just want to, again, stress fulfillment in work equals retention. And that equals, ensuring that the environment supports individuals. So, what has an individual be fulfilled in their work? When you can define that and have them define that for you and have them, buy into what that is, but also they're responsible for creating their own fulfillment, you're going to be able to retain them at a much higher level. And so as we, kind of wrap up, like I said, there's a couple of takeaways that we have. One takeaway for executives listening in is really looking at and saying, does your HR team have the tools and resources to best serve you? One of the statistics that we see is that organizations that provide continuous learning and development opportunities find that their staff are 15% more engaged in their work. And retention rates are 34% higher among organizations that offer employee development opportunities than those that don't. And 58% of employees say professional development contributes to their job satisfaction, which is a major factor in retention. And 74% of employees state that a lack of employee development is holding them back from reaching their potential. So if we think back to this and say, okay, so we know that there are 90% of the people out there looking for work, 90% of individuals are open to work, 36% of people are actively looking for work. How do we create an employee value proposition that brings them over to us? Learning and development that is aligned to their role, that moves them to where they want to go, is a key factor in that. So as you think, executives, about what you can do inside your organization, think about your HR team. Do they have the tools that they need? So we've been talking about, stories from our Hire program, but we do have an Inspire program actually starting in the next couple of weeks. And our Inspire program is a 16-week program that really talks about how do you inspire the rest of your staff and your HR team to perform at their highest level and increase that retention. So all the tips, the tricks, the tools are in there. So if you're looking at how do I inspire my HR team, let's enroll them in our Inspire program. And then let's see the benefits of them implementing some of these tools and professional development inside of your organization. So for our HR leaders listening in, we know that you are eyeball deep in recruitment and retention right now. And sometimes saying, there's got to be a better way to do this. Where is my easy button, right? So, one actual takeaway for you is just to ensure that you are connecting human to human with every person you talk to, because that authenticity will create an impact. Oh, by the way, if you want professional development, please go ask for it, because it can move you so much further in making your job easier and serving individuals in your organization, including your executive team, by aligning that business strategy to those business results. So with that, all of the information for our Hire and Inspire program is in our show notes. If you have questions on that, we would love to have that conversation with you. And we will see you next week right back here on the Talent Optimization Podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Talent Optimization Podcast. You'll find more tools and resources for CEOs and HR professionals looking to bridge the strategies versus implementation gap of talent optimization at elevatedtalentconsulting.com. We've also created a free, valuable resource for you to begin bridging the gap called the Talent Optimization Foundation Membership Program. You can access it for free at elevatedtalentconsulting.com/foundation. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode to learn more about talent optimization and creating a dream team for your organization.